spoken of in my last. So I was just saying about mixtures, why it's important that we move forward to reach and discover the authentic, to find out it's like buying the item that does work versus the items that look the same but don't work, and the forces, the rulers, the spiritual forces, whether you believe it or not, they like to create lots of counterfeit versions of truth. It's all part of the Hall of Mirrors, the smoke, the Hall of Mirrors, which is similar to the mask thing, the proxy thing. In order to reach the fortress at the top of the hill, we have to go through and find our way through the outer walls, how many there may be, to reach the inner structure. So in order to, we have to make a choice about mixtures. You have to make a choice about truth versus lies, and to get the house clean, to get the mind ready and fit, to get like a soldier's mind, to get strong, to throw out all failure, to get our mind geared for the battle ahead. Because we're all going to go under some form of pressure, whether we're Christians or not. There's going to be some kind of point, some kind of reaction, some kind of international crisis that's going to interrupt our normal existence. And those who are prepared to somehow live almost without anything, because of the system, when it reboots itself, there's only going to be certain people who are allowed to be in that system. And the idea of moving from this cash to a cashless society, and the idea of this technology getting to a point where Google, as people may be aware, now creating implants for the brain, where we can now have goggles that somehow tap into our brain senses in order to watch the internet. So it's all this type of thing. We've got to be careful, because as I say, we know, those of us may know, understand the agenda, and know about these guys. They're not content to own everything. They want to own us. Again, this is separate knowledge done on research and stuff on YouTube, right across the board. There's a general plan which is sort of again going through the motions. They do a lot of things subtly, by stealth, because they know that we're not very awake to it. That's how they get things through. In the background, they shift the goalposts. Because we haven't been looking. It's been like that for a long time. So that will continue, and the idea is which again parallels again to the scripture, where the whole world will be under a new order of things, and people won't be able to live normally, live life that they've been living, unless they have the mark, or the chip, or the certain password code thing, which is linked to the world economy. So I know for a fact that they are planning to build the RFID chip is one of those ways in which they plan to implement that, and in parts of the world that's already been implemented through the poor and educated folks, so they get their benefit. They say, it's a quicker way for them to get their benefit. And they use eye scans and other scans, biodata, they call it, biodata. So they're trying it out on the poorer countries, and this is all related to the same type of thing. And we already have the mass data storage, where everything is linked in with the smartphone, whereas when we're no longer everything's not so independent, connected. Like they've gotten rid of, for example, They've gotten rid of the post offices. There's only a few left. They're getting rid of the independent phone boxes. Where you used to just ring and use a phone to make a call. Some would just pay card phones now, but they'll probably end up getting rid of all those telephones. They got rid of all the red ones, the additional red phone boxes. But I always thought there was something good and independent about being able to use a phone box without having to pay lots of money to ring up, about your gas or your water or whatever, and having to pay a lot of money out, however, to ring up whoever, But anyway, it's all about that. So everything's been streamlined into one thing. More and more of the cables, the systems and technologies getting smaller, more and more system. Everything's got to be more and more sophisticated, faster, quicker, smarter. At the same time, we're getting into that realm of the AI, artificial intelligence. And again, all this stuff's happening, the multitudes, many of them still are not clicking, not awaking, and they're not sitting up to see what's going on. Again, they put in the symbols, the ancient symbols around us, like they did those old systems, the symbols, which I've already discussed, go back to the early empires of Egypt and the god worship symbols of the sun, and the eye. How popular is that eye symbol in popular culture and youth culture and through pop music and rap music? Have been promoted. A lot of rap culture now is dominated by the Illuminati, and they've used rap, whereas rap at one time, early hip hop was a people movement with the dance culture and the break dancing and the DJing. It was a separate before all the money was made, but they weren't really interested in that and they didn't like it. The white American elite, for example, but then they knew, we can make money now and also program the black man for failure by building up his ego and his gangster lifestyle and all that, which is going on. And then since that, they've brought in the Illuminati, the vandalism of the Illuminati, the eye, which we see with people like Beyonce and Jay-Z, and then also the link with the rave culture, which I've always liked, rave culture and house music, but again, they're stealing, taking in, making it all into this utopia kind of zone, one world on idea, ethos things. So it's all that kind of thing. So again, multi-million-dollar media influences buying and using, trying to create a mindset and also the thing to do with aliens, relationship with aliens. There's always, we're surrounded with creatures, aren't we, with sci-fi fascination for all these creatures and beast looking things. Who's behind it all? Who's really manufacturing it all? Who's the mind trying to, So we've been bombarded like going on. Is this conspiracy theory? I don't think so. So all this stuff's been brought in bit by bit by bit, smartphones, with the power now where all your systems of heat and gas is controlled through the internet, through a smart device that may or may not have the power to hear you in your own home. So it can all be switched off at a touch of a button. They all have the power. They've got the power at the top at some point. You can turn everything on. So I don't want to go into all this right now. This is just like the icing on the cake. All that the present situation we're in. I've touched on that a little bit, but I wanted to explain, the foundational construction elements, as I always began to do that. The ideas, parallels, which David Icke, again, I want to keep quoting him, but he does say about the big picture. You look at all these subjects and they all seem irrelevant, but then you piece them together and then you put it all up and says, that's what it's all about. And I remember that's what he said. And it's true what he said, that part anyway, and some of the stuff he said. But I don't want to go too much into his stuff. Anyway, but he has got that one book he did do, I think, was good to be a seeker. The whole idea of the holographic projection stuff is a bit here and there, and I think it's a bit of a distraction. And the whole alien reptilian thing is a distraction, because at the end of the day, only a few people may be aware of it, like he is, to see the truth of that, and whether or not it's true or not. At the end of the day, it's irrelevant, because it doesn't matter what matters is that we, as the public or whoever cares about the future, starts to act. We start to wake up and act and react in a positive way and unplug. And then whether that'll happen, the Bible says it won't happen. It says what's going to happen. But we've still got to try. I've still got to try to put out what I know. I'm not the only one. But there we go. So I was just saying about mixtures. First of all, talk about systems, and then mixtures. So basically, why did God? I talked earlier on about the relation. God wanted to have people for Himself, in sometimes pictorially described by the prophets as a wife, a faithful wife. Which is reflected in the New Testament. The idea of the bride being the church, the wife of Christ, the wife of the Messiah, the people, the Israel, the new Israel. Spiritually, there is only one Israel, because the same part will probably be there from the past to the future. But the point is, it's about the bride has to take herself off out of her places where there is all these influences, into a place where she may even be on her own in the desert. And as I say, it says that in Scripture that a part of that community, represented by a woman, will be out in the desert, will have managed to escape before all the things are happening, because she's probably awake and a warrior, but at the same time has been told that she can escape, and she is able to escape. As I say, many of her brethren are not able to escape. Why? Because they were involved in the mixtures, I believe. And that's the church as a whole there. Because they're not aware of all these other things, maybe they are partly the struggles that they have themselves with the experience of churchianity, whatever faith, or the struggles they can't put their finger on. And I believe that all Christians and people, all the traditions, again, they'll have two choices. They'll either be waking up to this and coming out of the churches because of these things and the increase of these things. And it says that the great falling away will happen as a main sign, biblical sign, the great falling away from faith, biblical truth. This may have happened way back in Constantine's time, through because of what Constantine did, but they say that that's been happening more and more since the biblical churches, fellowships have decided through their leaderships, even the evangelical flyboys who always had a finger on supposedly the supernatural, knowing God and victory and financial blessing and all these type of things, the word of faith movement, Benny Hinn and all that crowd. But anyway, I can't remember the name of the guy now. But anyway, all that crowd from America, all that type of Christianity. But some of it is things authentic. But anyway, I know I'm only talking to those people who may be in the know. Some Christians may not know what I'm talking about, and everybody else probably not know or care less. That's what I'm saying. But it's all actually relevant. But anyway, the falling away and the revealing of what's called the man of lawlessness, the son of perdition, the guy who pretends to be one of the family, one of the heads of the family, one of the heads of the community of the Yeshua. Yeah. And again, it all goes back to Rome again, and that whole hierarchical structure of the emperor foundation of Constantine, which was then at the time Constantine, and then was passed on to then the Bishop of Rome. We have the papacy, the whole idea of the papacy, the Vatican, the ruling imperial man who thinks he is God. Some people will say, oh, that's not true, can't be, that's not the Pope, that's not true. But the traditional early fathers of who rediscovered faith through the Bible, through after Martin Luther, Protestant reformer, believe that. But we've all lost a lot of that now, and this is all part of the sign, supposedly, of another major sign, massive watershed moment that leads to the other segments coming into position. So this is all to do with the whole mixture subject matter, the whole idea of the mixing the two, and then the increase of, well, one time the whole of democracy, Western civilization began to accelerate and blossom, and the whole ideologies of freedom and the American Constitution came on from that, and everything else that people enjoy about life and enjoyment came, and freedoms came from that, whether you're a Christian or not, whether you believe or not. The foundation was the Bible and the truth of faith, which came to Martin Luther and to other men like himself, like Tyndale, and others, that sparked what's called the Protestant Reformation, which then led on to, after the persecution of many, to the founding of democracy and the whole ideas, again, like I said briefly, the Industrial Revolution and science, because all those things were forbidden because of the absolute control of the church, of that Roman church built on 7 hills, which is talked about in the book of Revelation, the idea of the woman who, again, we're getting back to the analogy of the woman who this time is a harlot, who's likened to the Phoenician queen Jezebel, who in the period of the Solomon's temple, that period of the temple, which again is a favourite again of the Templars, Knights Templar. But so we're kind of going back to that, almost that cycle of going back to that dreaded cycle where they want to bring people down to that beast-like behaviour. So, and the Queen Jezebel was a bit like that, an archetype, a type of the Queen, of the Jezebel Queen that sits on her 7 hills, who rides the beast system, the system that I've already begun to explain, the system spoken on in Revelation, and also spoken of in pictorial type words, visions. It's very similar to John's revelations in visions, which are in the book of Daniel. And the idea which spoke of successive empires that will come upon the face of the earth after Babylon. So we've already mentioned about that, the facts have been presented about these empires, and I've briefly gone through the metaphysical identities of these, the mixtures, the spiritual and the historical, the imperialistic cultural identities. And surely you must know what I mean, what I'm talking about, which I've already done so in so far. So you can do your own research into all these systems, these Greek empires, these Roman empires, these Egyptian empires, these Assyrian empires, these Babylonian empires, these Sumerian empires, these Anunnaki gods, these influences of all these aliens, these strange beings, these Nordics, these blonde-haired UFO people, whatever. These reptilians, oh yeah, what would you like to see? These outer beings, these beings out of the range of visible light, according to David Icke. What do you like to call it? These hierarchals, creatures, their minions and their little imps that do their bidding. Ha ha! Anyway, there we are. But I'm just saying, we've talked about these things. We're seeing the bidding that's been done by the follower, the Illuminati, which is the lower, higher, but not the very top structure of the pyramid, of the ruling, physical ruling peoples and rulers of this world, of government and of politics and of royalty and others, banking and of machine media corporatism. So there we are. So I shouldn't have to go about all that, but I will go in depth detail for each subject. But as I say, we're seeing and have seen these things, and are seeing these things. So the scripture talks about the fulfillment of these empires, these beast-type empires, using pictorial language, using, beasts like, a leopard and a bear and a combination of all those things. These beasts will be a combination of all those Babylon mystery type empires were based on all these gods and all their characteristics all built into one. And then the Queen of Heaven sitting on the beast. The Isis, the Queen, the Semiramis, and it's all about, so we've gone back, they want to take us back, they're doing it certainly through all these things to tantalise us. They want to take us back to the place, to the Phoenician situation, Phoenician god situation, the Temple of Solomon. They want to take us back to the Temple of Solomon, to the sacrificial system, even to the terrible things of people willingly, because they did this in the past, willingly giving up of their own infants to be sacrificed in the flames, to be chopped up, to have blood sacrifices. Is that what they plan? Some people say that's what they already do in secret, and they're trying to, through all these subtleties and propagandas, promotions, they're building things back to that place, trying to rewind us back. And where the king, the king of Tyre, I said the Phoenician king of Tyre, who also is the name for Lucifer in scripture, in Ezekiel, chapter 38 or 28, the same description for the king of Tyre being the same as the Phoenician king of Tyre, base where Lebanon is, where Baalbek, temple of Baalbek, the sun god, great massive temple that reflected the Solomon's temple, which is the origin, the root of this great tradition, this mystery school, the foundation of the West, the foundation of our empires of the West, came via the Phoenicians, via the Hebrews, via the pagan pantheistic Egyptology. But God forbid us not to do such things. So that's the whole idea of mixtures, the subtlety, the manipulation, appetizing, the manipulation, tantalization. Like I said, we need to know the knowledge. Even if you don't know Christ, surely if you have care in your heart, we must know knowledge, truth, and set our minds for us like soldiers, like the soldiers who went out, our own grandparents and grandmas went out to fight the Nazis, to fight to preserve the freedom that kept us safe, that held the land, that held this country. We just held it. It was in 20 miles of water plus through the subtleties of politics, the EU, and we've very nearly have lost our sovereignty if we vote to stay with the EU, the European Union, who is an absolute mess. So they've tried to build the new Roman Empire like the previous Roman Empire. They may still yet go into a phase of success with a one world system of government and monetary system without any money. But you still be able to drink your beer and watch your Mandel Farm and do all the things that you've always wanted to do with a big fat belly. So, but the mark will be there, and it'll be too late for truth or integrity will have been cast down to the ground. It says the truth, it says, the book of Daniel, it says truth will be cast down to the ground, trampled on. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold. But it doesn't say the love of all will grow cold. So I'm just speaking now, this is Nick Wayne, coming to you as a reporter from my heart and my soul, and from authenticity, coming with a soul passion like James Brown, and the spirit of truth helping me to say the things that need to be said. And God willing that people are hearing what I'm saying, crying their eyes out because of the love of God, the power of God is reaching them now, and I pray it is. His Spirit is reaching out and making all these words fit, and some will not hear, some will not listen, some will mock me as they already do. Anyway, God knows. So anyway, let's prepare, let's continue. Let's set our minds like the strong generation of the late 1930s had to stand up to Hitler and do their bit, because that's the same sort of spirit we're going to need. But it's in short supply now, very short supply. This message is going out to all God's people and all the families of the earth. Okay, it's time for a cup of tea. Thank you. Thank you.